So we've got where Trump agreed to debate Joe Biden. And you guys remember this. I talked a bit about this on a past episode where Trump agreed to debate Joe Biden on September 10th. Then Joe Biden no longer was the nominee. And then they wanted him to stick to all the arrangements that they had worked out with him and Biden. He's like, this isn't Biden, this is Harris. Let's renegotiate. Let's come to the table with some new, ideas and strategies and stuff like that. Because if you'll remember when he debated Biden, it was no live audience. Well, who thrives off of a live audience? Trump does. Biden does not. Hey, we're gonna mute your mic when it's not your turn, or you've run out of time. We're gonna mute your mic. Well, who does that benefit or hurt? Well, it hurt Trump because Trump can go, 50 miles an hour, or he can go 5 miles an hour and really drag it out and really just beat you up with the facts and everything that he's saying, which sometimes he doesn't say the sweetest things in the world, but that's Trump. And that's what he does. He is lethal when it comes to spitting stuff out, right? So muting the mics hurts him. But guess what? It didn't. I don't know if it was all him or if it was his team or what, but they did a fantastic job in handling that debate. I don't think they had to do as good as they did to beat up Biden like they did. But to be fair, they did a fantastic job to control those urges. Trump's got those urges. I mean, you see it on Truth Social or X. If he gets a thought in his head, it's coming out. If you say something about him, he's coming back at you. He's always been this way. I remember them talking about him way before he was ever thinking about running as president. And that's just the way he's always been. So, he's agreed, hey, we'll do it your way, because the American people, and this is what I want you to hear, the American people deserve to hear the two top presidential candidates, right, from the two leading parties. Of course, RFK wasn't in there, which we'll talk about him in a second. The American people deserve to hear from both sides to have a debate. So because of that, I will agree to your demands and meet you on that stage. He did wipe the floor with Biden, wipe the floor with CNN, who I will say was mostly fair. I think they were mostly fair. I think the stipulations from which the debate was going on, I don't like how they did that. Basically, and they're doing it again now, which we're rolling into here. But it's like, what can we do for you guys? Okay, all right, well, for the Democrats, this is what we need. No hot mics, turn the mics off. No live audience. That hurts us. It's got to be on your network. We probably need the notes ahead of time. I don't know, maybe. But there's all these stipulations, and it seems like the networks were like, sure, whatever y'all need. We got y'all's back. Trump, you gonna debate or you gonna run away? He's like, what do you want me to do? You guys have stacked the deck against me, right? And you want me to come in here and do all this? I get the hesitation, but he put all that aside, knowing he was walking into the lion's den in order to meet head to head with our previous presidential nominee from the Democrat Party, for you, for me, for the citizens of this country to see the two candidates go head to head in a debate. That was the right thing to do. Sucks he had to do it, but that was the right thing to do. And he mentioned when Kamala took over as the nominee, and I think this was before she was technically the nominee. They were already getting into it again. I did cover this, talking about if they were going to debate or not. And then right there, as this came out, they decided that they would debate on the 10th. But he tried to get her on the 4th at Fox, I want to say it was, and then the 10th was ABC, and I think he came up with a third date as well, and she wouldn't commit to anything except for the 10th. And here's the thing, and I think this is where the right, and the Trump supporters and Trump himself get it wrong. The left has to lie to really be effective. That's what I've noticed. When you think of like Jussie Smollett or, Bubba Wallace or, there's bukus of stuff, right? Mostly peaceful protest, insurrection, these are untruths. These are falsehoods, right? And that's what they have to do. They have to lie in order to win. Republicans just need to tell the truth. Just let the sun shine on the truth. because the truth shall set you free, right? We don't need to add into the lies. We don't need to play their dirty games. Just expose them for who they are and what they do. The reason I say that is when Trump was like, hey, let's debate on September 4th on Fox, and Kamala and then we're like, nah, we don't want to do that. Then you start hearing people on the right, and I want to say Trump as well. You heard people saying, oh, well, Kamala's running away from the debates. That's not fair. She never committed to it. It wasn't fair to say that she was running away from the debate. It would have been fair to say, hey, let's do it at a different a network on the 10th, or let's do different stipulations on the 10th. Maybe then you could say you already committed to the 10th. Let's make sure we find common ground here on something. Then you can maybe go after. But if you say, hey, let's do one a week sooner on a different network with different stipulations, and if you say no, I'm going to say you're running away. Let's just be fair. She wasn't running away from that one. I mean, she probably was. Don't get me wrong, but we can't present it that way. Just be honest. Just be truthful and say, hey, September 10th, they're trying to reconstruct this into something it was never meant to be. Right? Let's get back to what's best for the American citizens. I mentioned that earlier, that he was willing to do that. Look at RFK. He gave up his presidential run, backed Trump, because he felt that was what was best for Americans, for this country. Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democrat, supporting Trump. You see all these people coming out and doing things that you wouldn't expect them to do, backing who you wouldn't expect them to back, supporting who you wouldn't expect them to support, saying things you wouldn't expect them to support. Why? It's not for their own pride or their own ego. They believe that what they're doing is best for America. One would say possibly because they want to make America great again, right? The point to all that is you got one person, or you got one side rather, that wants to do that. Willing to compromise in order to give the American citizens what they deserve. Then you got another side saying, well, I'll debate you, but it's got to be at this time, at this location, no mics, muted, no audience. I get notes. You don't get, and you just do everything you can to manipulate the situation, to take advantage of the situation. That is not for the American citizens. That's not who's benefiting from that. You are. And there's so much more I can get into as far as that whole, line of thinking goes. I won't right now, but I may on debate night. We shall see. But let's go ahead and get into a couple of these articles because, and I'm not going to dive deep into these, but I just want to point out the games that are being played. You'll notice sometimes I don't cover the most up-to-date news because that changes so frequently, but it is the core of what I'm sharing that never changes. And that is the media is one of the greatest threats that we have right now. Trump said that before, and he was called all kinds of names, and he was demonized for that, because they were saying he's attacking the free press. It's no longer the free press. When the major news networks own the major news media and they work together, and then you've got people that are, these big tycoons that own, which has pretty much always been the case, newspaper outlets or news organizations, they kind of have their own agendas and stuff, right? So what do we see here? Kamala Harris team call out Donald Trump over live mics and TV debate. Well, what are they talking about? I thought everything was figured out. Well, when him and Biden were going to debate, Trump and Biden, it was, hey, we're going to mute the mics. And now they're saying we're going to do it at the same place, the same time, the same network, but we don't want to mute the mics anymore. And Trump was like, I was willing to do whatever you wanted. Now you want to unmute the mic? And make up your mind. Do you want to mute them? Do you want to unmute them? What do you want to do? No, we want to unmute them so you can embarrass yourself. And the network is over there like, okay, that's fine with us. And Trump's like, I don't know, man. I think Trump overall, when you read these articles, and again, links to all these will be down in the descriptions because I'm not gonna read through all these articles. Trump, for the most part, is like, okay, I don't care. Unmute the mics. Let's just do this again because it's not for self-gratification. It's for the good of the nation. But they're going to keep running with those headlines. That's how the media is. They're going to make him look bad for not committing to something that has been changed, altered, renegotiated. He is always going to be the villain to them. Next one right here from USA Today. Donald Trump says he'll participate in September 10th debate after casting doubt. I think there was something in here I wanted to see. The former president GOP nominee posted on True Social Tuesday afternoon that the pair will go head to head on September 10th in a live debate hosted by ABC News. The pair previously agreed on the date and host network, but Trump cast doubt over the weekend whether the debate would occur after all. Why would I debate against Kamala Harris on that network? Trump asked in a True Social post Sunday, criticizing Jonathan Karl's interview with Tom Cotton on ABC's This Week, as well as the show's panel of commentators, which is pretty much hitting on what I was talking about on that segment I did a couple of weeks ago. He's got outstanding lawsuits against ABC, issues with some of the commentators. George Stephanopoulos, I think, was one of them that there was some kind of issue with. But ABC Disney has issues with Trump. Trump has issues with them, but he's like, you know what? I don't care. I didn't want to go here. I didn't think it was right, but you forced me. I'm going to go do it. Next one. Rolling Stone. Remember how they used to write about music? Trump hints he may ditch debate as rules negotiations stall. The campaigns are fighting over whether the candidates' mics will be muted while the other speaks, according to Politico. At this point, again, I say, who cares? But at some point, you've got to keep standing up for your principles and quit giving in, right? If we are continuing to be, and we are, and man, I can go on a rabbit hole on this one. If we continue to be the party or the people that always say, okay, well, I'll back off a little bit to give you some more room. Okay, I'm willing to compromise a little bit more so we can find some common ground here. Okay, I'm willing to give up a little bit more so we can find some agreements here and everything. We are going to give up so much that we won't even recognize this country. We won't recognize who we are, and we are not going to leave a world behind for our children that we even recognize whatsoever at all. They will not be safe. They will not have financial opportunities, the ability to buy houses, all kinds of stuff. Again, it's a deep rabbit hole, and I'm already starting to go down there. I got to stop. Sorry. But at some point, you got to quit giving up the ground. I'll come back here because I'm going to get deep. One of my favorite scenes in a film of all time. A lot of great films. Don't get me wrong. This is not one of the greatest films of all time, in my opinion. A humble yet accurate opinion. It is a really great film. It's definitely a dude's flick. And that is Zack Snyder's 300. Awesome movie. It's not The Godfather. It's not Goodfellas. It's not Star Wars. The original, not the greatest movie of all time. But it has a scene that is so good in it that I've referenced it multiple times when trying to motivate my team back when I was in management and retail and, talking to other people. I always thought it was a really cool moment. When Leonidas and the 300, right? They are being just overwhelmed and pushed back, but they have their shields up and they're side by side covering each other like the Spartans are supposed to do. And they're being pushed back, and you see their feet just dragging and sliding. And they're not catching ground or anything like that. And all of a sudden, at the same time, in the same beat, all of a sudden their feet catch. Boom. And all that momentum that the other folks had, I don't remember who they were fighting in this particular one, all that momentum stops. They quit giving up ground and they moved forward. And of course they won. I think that is such a powerful scene. And I think that's one of the things we have to do in life is find that footing, figure out where we're going to stop giving up ground and stand our ground. Plant our feet and move forward. If anything, even if it's just stopping, don't move backwards. We continue to move backwards and give up ground and give up more and more and more to please other people. We got to stop doing that. Other people are willing to fight for what they want. You have to be able to fight for what you want too. And again, I'm talking mostly to conservatives. A lot of times I'm looking at you Christians as well. We just want to be the nice guy, and we don't want to aggravate anybody. We don't want to be considered the bad guy. So we allow others to take advantage of us. It's not right. You got to stand up for yourself. Last article here, and then we'll move on to the next section. Just more of the same, though. But this is from The Guardian. He has the best looks. The best. So Donald Trump threatens to pull out of 10 September presidential debate. They even write it weird. Republican nominee calls ABC fake news and sows further doubt over appearance at debate with Kamala Harris. Again, I just kind of wanted to show you like this list of headlines because it's all just crap. It's all garbage. It's all making him look bad. You don't hate the media enough. That is not my line. That's somebody else's. It's a fantastic line, but I think we're all pretty much jumping on board with that one. And that, again, while the debate information is nothing brand spanking new, I want to make sure I emphasize that you don't hate the media enough. I want to expose them for what they are doing. I've got friends in my closest friends circles, right, that swear by all these stupid Democrat talking points. Now, Democrats may have some good talking points. I don't know what they would be. But the things like bloodbath, good people on both sides, insurrection, all this and that. That's not true. That's been debunked. But they believe it. Why do they believe it? Not because they believe the politicians. Very few people believe politicians until they're told to, until they're told that they are holier than thou. Well, who tells them that? Who convinces of that? Who gives them these talking points? Who passes these talking points along to anybody? The media does. The media does. Everyone from the local media to the mainstream legacy media networks to social media.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.